Welcome to House Talk, with maintenance tips unique to the retreat at Banning Lewis Ranch, with your host, Doug Bowman. Today we're going to talk about your air conditioning system. We'll discuss a little bit about how the system works, what maintenance you can do as a homeowner, and then what to leave to the professionals. I'll also give you a few ideas how to keep the maintenance costs down. So let's get into it. Here's your combined furnace and air conditioning coil combined into one package. No matter who the manufacturer is, the house fan usually is on the bottom, with the furnace above it, and if you purchased an air conditioner, the evaporator coil is mounted above that, with the air compressor being located outside. So how do these systems all work together? Well, when your house fan starts, your house's air gets sucked into the unit, first through the filter, then through the fan, then gets discharged from the fan and passes through the furnace, then through the AC evaporator coil, also called an A coil because of its shape, and gets distributed back to the vents throughout the house. Whether your thermostat is set to heating mode, cooling mode, or just fan mode, the same fan and flow path is used for all three. If you call for the heat to run, after the furnace is given time to heat up, the house fan starts, picks up heat from the furnace, and follows the same flow path back to the house. And if you call for the AC to run, the fan starts, gets chilled by the evaporator coil, and continues back to the house as well. The relationship between the evaporator coil and the outside air conditioner unit can be confusing. Most people think that the air conditioner adds cooling to the house, when in reality, it actually absorbs heat from the house, leaving cold in its absence. Think of it this way. The refrigerant cycling through the system acts like a big sponge. In the evaporator coil, when you let go of the sponge, it absorbs the heat from the house's air. As the refrigerant flows back to the outside unit, the compressor squeezes the sponge and releases the heat to the outside air with the help of the outside fan. Then, the refrigerant flows back inside and the cycle starts all over again. In reality, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, with the refrigerant gas turning into a liquid and a liquid turning into a gas, but the fundamentals of heat transfer stay the same. This refrigerant I keep mentioning has gotten much more environmentally friendly over the years and also more expensive. Because of EPA requirements, only certified technicians can perform repairs on a refrigerant system. So if you think your system's struggling or underperforming, don't wait to call an AC technician. This could be a sign of a small leak, which can cost you hundreds of dollars in just refrigerant costs alone, and that doesn't include the cost of finding and repairing the leak. So what can a homeowner do? Well, the simplest test is called a delta T test or a temperature test. After letting your air conditioning system run for about 5 minutes, use a simple meat thermometer and measure the warm air going into the return vent and the temperature coming out of any supply vent. The difference should be between 14 and 22 degrees. 20 degrees is the benchmark, but humidity and your system's airflow can have a lot to do with your number. But anything less than 14 should be investigated. Here's a breakdown of some other common maintenance tasks homeowners can do. Replace or clean air filters. That's probably the most important task. Inspecting and replacing them at least every 3 months, and more frequently depending on if you have pets, allergies, or your system constantly runs. And here's a tip. If you can't see through the filter, it's time to replace it. Here's a simple one. Ensure that the supply and return vents are all open and unobstructed by furniture or rugs. And then be sure to vacuum the supply and return grills to remove any dust buildup. It's almost certain condensation will be created by the air conditioner. This condensation drains away, typically outside or to a floor drain. You definitely want to keep this drain path clear. To do this, locate the white PVC drain line and check for clogs. Use a wet-dry vac to suck out any algae or debris from the end of the pipe. If it's really bad, pour a cup of bleach mixed with water or distilled white vinegar down the drain to prevent the algae from growing. Next, we'll talk about cleaning the outdoor unit. For this, you can turn off the power and remove debris like leaves and sticks around the unit, and use a garden hose to gently spray down the fins. Maintain at least 2 to 3 feet of clearance around the unit, trimming back shrubs and foliage to ensure proper airflow. And lastly, avoid using a pressure washer, which can bend the delicate fins and block airflow. And since you're outside, check the insulation on the bigger copper refrigerant pipe leading from the compressor unit to the house. If it's crumbling or broken or missing, replace it to maintain thermal efficiency. You can buy replacement covers at any big box store. This one I've mentioned before, but it's always good to be on the lookout for rodents around your house, especially around the low voltage small wires going into your AC unit. Rodents can stop your air conditioning from working with just a few bites. And since we're talking about pests, you should periodically inspect your entire house for wasps' nests. It's not uncommon for them to build a nest in your AC compressor units or in the electrical safety switch on the wall connected to it. But never try dealing with them without first turning off the power. Now let's talk about the work you should leave for a certified air conditioning contractor. The first, and one of the best deals for your money, are the seasonal checkups that companies offer for the spring and fall. For under $100, air conditioning professionals will come in and go over your system with a fine-tooth comb. Looking for issues with your system, inside and out, they will identify issues and present you with a write-up of what they found. These checkups are cheaply priced to get their foot in the door in hopes of immediate or future repairs if identified. The checklist is yours to keep, and you can always call on another contractor to verify their findings or compete against their repair costs. Work on the Freon system, compressor, A-coil, or fan motors is absolutely better suited for an AC professional. The next two items are the weak links of the AC system and are frequently identified as failed or out of tolerance. They are the capacitors and contactors. Let's start with the capacitors. These electrical devices give a boost of power to get compressors and fans up to full speed every time they start. They do only last a few years, but it's not uncommon to have them identified as an issue. While they are simple to replace, they can be dangerous to someone who doesn't know what he's doing, especially the capacitors, which can hold a charge for months after they've been de-energized. The contactors are fairly simple devices that do wear down over time as well. The way they work is when the thermostat calls for the AC system to start, it energizes a magnet on the contactor and sucks in an electrical contact, completing the circuits to the fan and the compressor. The savings opportunity here is that these two devices cost very little, as you can see here, but they are by far the two highest marked up items to have replaced. Once they burden these prices with the high costs of diagnostic fees, truck overheads, training, office costs, and labor markups, the all-in cost of these repairs can be 6 to 7 times the cost of the device. These capacitors and contactors are not part of the Freon gas system. They're just part of the electrical system that starts and stops the fans and compressors. My recommendation here is to use a local electrician or handyman in the area to purchase the part and do the work at half the cost. The last savings opportunity is a good one, and it has nothing to do with parts. It's to understand and take advantage of your utility's rate plan structure and knowing when and not to run your biggest appliances, especially since the cost of a kilowatt hour can double during peak periods. The homework here is to bring up your electric bill and see what rate plan you signed up for, and then to go onto your utility's website and see what days and hours you should avoid. Then, once you figure it out, print it out and post it in a conspicuous place for all to see. You'll be delighted with the outcome. Well, hopefully this helps give a better understanding of your air conditioning system, and as always, feel free to get a hold of me by leaving a comment. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button.